The way we're wired, and this is the way people operate basically, is everyone's taking short-term comfort.
And then they wonder why they're, once again, getting what they're missing, what they don't want, or what other people want for them.
You're in control of how you think, feel, and behave. It's up to you how you spend your time, who you spend it with.
You have to make decisions and choices every single day to put you a step forward toward what you believe your destiny is.
Anytime that I'm too comfortable, something needs to change, and I need to chase something that's really, really difficult.
It's about you as an individual going always a little further, because you can.
You have to follow process. Follow your heart, switch off this, which is the program, and through that you will achieve your aim.
Today, we're talking to 7 leading experts about the mindset you need to be successful. From CEOs, entrepreneurs, athletes, from military personnel, and so much more. These guys give us 7 rules for an elite mindset when it comes to becoming successful. Today's video was sponsored by Mulliganbrothers.com, the best motivational clothing brand in the world, where if you follow the link in the description, you can also get the brand new journal where all the profits go back into creating this content. But before that, what does it take to become elite? What does it take to become successful? Here are 7 of the best leading experts and 7 of my favorite rules to get that mindset. I'm your host, Jordan Mulligan. Let's jump into the video.
The way we're wired, and this is the way people operate basically, is everyone's taking short-term comfort. Whether that's drugs, drink, relationships, job choices, all the choices they make knowing there's a level of comfort there. And if you want to achieve anything in life, if you want to achieve success at work, success in any aspect of your life, you need to take short-term discomfort for long-term gain. You know, everything we do in life is about taking the short-term discomfort, you know, and that, whether that's sending an extra email, staying a bit longer at work, whatever it is. It's like, also, let's relate it to physical exercise or something. If you want to achieve a goal, let's say you want to run the London Marathon next year, you know that every week you're going to have to do some training to achieve that. And that is about, yeah, you're not going to want to. By the time it comes to putting your trainers on, going out the door, your mind is going to tell you and enforce every reason why you shouldn't do it. And it's devious. It will tell you to go and check your computer, do this, do that. And that's when we have to switch this off. You have to switch the mind off and follow the process. And that's something that I learned from an early age, but something that was further enforced in the military. You have to follow process. Follow your heart, switch off this, which is the program. And through that, you will achieve your aim. So really, if you can take care of the small stuff, you know, about doing everything, whether that's washing the dishes before you go to bed at night so you don't come down to a whole mess in the kitchen, whatever it is, making your bed in the morning, simple things. If you can do the simple things, the big stuff takes care of itself.
I'm very systematic about the activities I have during the day. So I have these 5 daily practices that allow me to take in increments of one day and use midterm and long-term objectives as a trajectory, not an outcome. So each day I wake up and say, yeah, you know, in 6 years when my son graduates from high school, this is what I want to do. I'm going to make some changes in my business, you know, of the activity I get paid for, the activity I don't get paid for, spend more time doing this. I want to live to over 111 years old, so that's a very long-term objective. So then I say, well, consider these things that I'm looking to do. It might be buy a penthouse in San Diego when I'm 60. Now, all I focus in on today is what do I need to do to move in that trajectory? Personally, experientially, giving-wise, and receiving-wise. Then I say to myself, now that I know what I need to do today, who can I help with what I want to do and who can help me? Then I move to how to do it. These, you know, how can I be efficient? And the 3 lenses of how, by the way, which have really changed my life, is when I look at how it's going to happen, I look at how can I be more productive, provide more value, how can I be more accessible, which is a bifocal lens. So it's not just how am I more accessible to others, but how am I accessing what I want, personally, experientially, giving and receiving, and the lens of gratitude. The lens of gratitude is the ability to find what? The light, the love, and the lessons in it, which decrease the relativity of time, as well gives me a more positive mindset, more positive heart set. I feel better, and allows me to be more efficient, effective, and statistically successful with my actual handset. And so I use those lenses to see the activity I plan, don't have planned in my sleep, which we can get to, and the activity I get paid for and I don't get paid for. Once I do that, my what, my who, and my how, then I can prioritize my now. Still keeping into consideration the trajectory that I want to buy a penthouse when I'm 60 and I want to live to over 111. Too many people spend their whole day worrying about the penthouse when they're 60 and living to 111, but they don't do what it's going to take to get there. And then they wonder why they're, once again, getting what they're missing, what they don't want, or what other people want for them, because they haven't utilized this exercise.
I don't remember a time in my life where I remember thinking about following a path or being like the rest or being normal. You know, I was always striving for more. I don't know if it was because of my family, the way that I was brought up. So a pretty demanding family in terms of the expectations that they had for me, for my life. You know, they were, from a very young age, they were kind of wanting to steer me in the direction of going to be a doctor or going to be a lawyer, and I just always felt like I had a chip on my shoulder, you know, like I had to prove to them that I could do these things, that I didn't have to follow the crowd, that I didn't have to, you know, go study communications and get married with an older guy that makes a ton of money. Like, none of that interests me. I wanted to be independent. I wanted to make a name for myself. And genuinely, like, I really enjoy the challenge. I realized from a young age that the moments where I felt the happiest were the moments where I was suffering the most. So that just kind of became part of my life motto. Like, anytime that I'm too comfortable, something needs to change, and I need to chase something that's really, really difficult.
By the age of 9, I was getting into small gangs and getting into trouble, stealing, that sort of stuff. And at the age of 11, I then found myself in juvenile court for actual bodily harm, grievous bodily harm, all sorts of stuff. And in between this year of being 9 and 11, I joined a boxing club, an illegal boxing club, and an old man that I stole from took me to one side and said, listen, boxing is not about brutality, it's a poor man's game of chess. It's about anticipation, it's about thinking, it's about using your feet, using your brain. And I'll never forget those words. And the second thing he said to me was, it's about you as an individual going always a little further, because you can. And strangely enough, many, many years later, then when I joined the SAS, that is part of our prayer, always a little further, and I've kept that as my mantra since. So I learned a lot of sort of lessons along the way, although I was a rogue child. I was fortunate enough to meet influential people that put me on the track, and he was the first one outside of my father that sort of sat me down and says, this is what you need to be doing. And he's very disciplined to me, and for whatever strange reason, as bad as I was, I understood discipline, and I kind of needed that control. Unfortunately, in today's world, we've lost all that. We've lost that discipline, we've lost that respect. And for me, that's what kept me allowed to get me to where I am today. You know, we always look for somebody else to blame. And again, as I've gone through my life, I realise you need to own up to what you really are and what you're doing in order to move forward.
Never let a situation or circumstance define your life, no matter what it may be, right? Because you can always look at a situation and think, like me, for example, I was the first one in my family to go to college, right? In that house, my grandparents had 16 children, right? 3 of them graduated high school, 3. So the value of education was extremely low. And when I came along and I had this dream of going to the NFL, going to college, I could have looked at my situation and said, well, man, more than half of my family didn't even graduate high school. So it's far-fetched. It's not going to happen, right? People even told me when I got to high school. And a cop asked me once, he said, man, what's your dream? I said, I'm going to go Division I, I'm going to go to college, then I'm going to go to the league. And he's like, you'll probably go to cell block D1. And I was like, man, you're making a mistake. Like, I've never met you a day in my life. And he's like, your family went to this school. Your uncles went to this school. I got an uncle in jail, right? Got an uncle in prison, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, apple don't fall too far from the tree, right? And what he was saying to me was, you'll probably repeat the same pattern that they repeated. You come from the same household, right? And I could have looked at it and made an excuse and said, I'm gonna lower my standards to meet and accommodate my household, my experience, my situation, my circumstance. Or I can take my situation and my circumstance and raise my standard and say, I'm going to be an example, and I'm going to triumph, and I'm gonna use my situation and my circumstance is my driving force and my fuel, right? And so never allowing a situation or circumstance to define your life, and understanding that you got something inside of you that's greater than that situation or that circumstance, but you have to constantly believe it. And not only believe it, you have to make decisions and choices every single day to put you a step forward toward what you believe your destiny is.
When we give away our power, we allow other people to control how we think, how we feel, and how we behave. So somebody might say, my mother-in-law makes me feel bad about myself. Your mother-in-law doesn't force you to feel bad. It's about how you respond to maybe the comments she makes or the actions that she takes. But you're in control of how you feel. Or somebody might say, my boss causes me to get really angry. He ruins my day all the time. Well, nobody has the power to ruin your day. That's up to you. And nobody can force you to feel angry. It's up to you how you respond to them. So taking back your power is really about reminding yourself you're in control of how you think, feel, and behave. It's up to you how you spend your time, who you spend it with. And even certain things that may not feel like it's a choice, like you might think, I have to go to work. You don't have to. If you chose not to go to work, you probably wouldn't get paid, you might get fired, and you'd create a lot of problems for yourself, but it's still a choice. And taking back your power is just about reminding yourself, okay, these are all my choices, and maybe I'm doing these things to avoid consequences, but it's still because I'm choosing to do it. And when we do that, it just empowers us to know that we're in control of creating whatever kind of life we want. And living our best lives is really up to us.
I never had a fear of failing, and I think that's really important to mention. And I think that massively, massively worked to our advantage because we were so happy and so comfortable taking that gut-led decision so quickly and instinctively. I think that really helped, because there might have been other companies that were in the same position as us that were umming and ahhing as to whether or not they should do certain things, and we just did it. And I think that's so powerful, because I think you can spend so much time worrying about failure or this, that, and the other, and before you know it, it's too late. Whereas I think we were just incredibly, incredibly brave and tenacious in our, in our pursuit of where we wanted to get to. And I think genuinely that made a huge difference to how quickly we've managed to grow the business. I think so much more is in the control of the individual than what people think. And that's quite easy for me to say, right, sat in the position that I'm in. But the only reason that I or Gymshark has gotten to where we are today is because we took control of the situation that I was in. I followed my passion, and there was never a point where we've gone, the world has dealt us a bad hand, so we're just going to mope. And I think that's so important, that whatever happens, and it's not everyone is dealt the same hand. Some people have a better hand than others, and some people have more opportunity than others. And unfortunately, I think that's part of life, and it's a shame. And hopefully over our lifetimes, we can try and level that playing field as best we can. However, you're dealt with a hand, and ultimately that's the hand that you've got to play. And I think people have more control than what they think. And I think if you really take time to focus on self-development and improvement, I think you'd be very surprised as to the incredible gains that you can make.
Thank you so much to everybody who has been involved in this video. I'm going to link all their stuff down below. These are 7 of my favorite rules to get that mindset to become successful. There are so many more. So with our community, comment down below, help each other out, let each other know. And I just want to say as well, Mulligan Brothers is now on its final tour of the year. We are doing a lot of interviews right now. We're flying all over the place, from America to Canada to Europe to wherever it is. We will go and we will do these interviews. And we just want to know, whilst we are organizing these interviews and these trips, comment down below, who do you want to hear on the channel? Tag them, let them know that Mulligan Brothers are moving all the way around the world, from the East Coast to the West Coast, from England to Scotland to Europe to Germany, wherever it is, we will be there. And we want you guys to let us know who you want to hear from. This is going to be one of our biggest pushes for the whole year, and we want to get as many inspiring stories and messages to you guys as possible. And also, we would like to open up an invitation to become part of the Mulligan Brothers team. Hit us up on Instagram at Mulligan Brothers. Let us know your skills and all that kind of stuff, and come say hello on Instagram at Jordan Mulligan Brother, at Mulligan Brothers, at Niamh Mulligan X. Thank you for all the support at mulliganbrothers.com. It makes all this possible, so thank you again. Have a blessed and productive day. Go inspire some change, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.